You also know that in China they manufacture machines in all sorts of categories. There is an upper category, a middle category, and a lower category. These machines are not exactly the same as those manufactured in the West in similar categories. And actually, it's no longer the quality or the performance that differentiates these categories, but mostly the price. Because a high-end machine manufactured in China is roughly priced like a mid-range machine made in the West, and a mid-range machine is priced like a low-end machine made in the West. The question is how much this price difference is reflected in the quality and whether these machines can truly compete with Western competitors. In this video, I will talk to you about this, so stay with me. Today's test subject is the Jigoo V700, which is the company's high-end machine. As you know, there is the C200, the C500, and now the V700. This V700 represents the high-end category, and it truly is high-end. The machine has many capabilities, which I will talk about in this video. But as usual, let's start with the accessories, then move on to the specifications and the test, and then I'll share my opinion. I don't want to spend too much time on the accessories, but there are a few things I definitely need to show. The first of these is the suction tube, or the extension tube, because this extension tube is quite interesting. It's a piece of very good quality, and what's interesting is that although the machine is high-end, it's made of plastic, not metal. The tube, but its quality is very good, its fit is excellent, and it almost gives the feeling of metal. The connectors at the end of the tube are also very good. The button is excellent, and this little gilding. This shows that, well, let's say in China this represents the high-end category if something is gilded, but the buttons themselves are also of very good quality. What might be the most interesting here is something we are not used to even in mid-range Chinese vacuum cleaners. That at every tube connection we find a rubber ring here sealing on the vacuum side and sealing on the head side as well, which is very good because it won't suck in false air. The machine won't lose suction anywhere, so the suction power it has will all appear at the head, where it will draw in the air thanks to the connections. So even this simple thing like this extension tube shows that we're not dealing with an average mid-range Chinese machine here, but we've certainly entered the upper category. This is also indicated by the fact that with this machine we already find a mite head. This mite head is used for cleaning upholstered furniture. In a mid-range vacuum cleaner, the upholstery head looks like this. It's a brush head like this. However, in the high-end category, we get a motorized head, which allows us to clean our upholstered furniture very well and with high quality. It can also be said that the plastics are very, very good. The fittings are excellent. There are no burrs, no fitting problems anywhere. It does not creak, it does not crackle, it is properly assembled. And this can of course be said about the smaller accessories as well, because here we have our crevice tool and we also have this brush, right? Head. These are also made from very high quality plastics. It is noticeably not that recycled quality. It might still be made from recycled plastic, but it doesn't feel like it. That can definitely be stated. Perhaps the least interesting is the large floor head, because in essence it's like the others in vacuum cleaners, with a V-shaped bristle design, one row of hard and one row of soft bristles. This doesn't really differ much from other machines. What might be interesting is that instead of 5 or 6 green LEDs in the middle, there are 2 on the sides. There is one green LED on each side, which is brighter, and during cleaning these LEDs worked very well, illuminating the floor perfectly. This head can also be described similarly to the nozzle. Here too we find the rubber seal and the gold-plated button. The whole thing feels very good here as well, so I don't think anyone will have a problem with the quality of the accessories. I suspect, by the way, that there won't be any issues with the machine either, because the machine itself is exactly the same high quality as the accessories. The plastics are very good, the assembly quality is very good, nothing creaks or cracks here, nothing wants to fall apart, everything clicks into place as it should. I would like to draw attention to 2 things. The dust container is relatively small, which has its reason, and I will talk about this later, and this sphere at the back, which is again quite an interesting solution. Inside the sphere is the display, which shows the battery charge level and indicates if there is any error, such as the dust container filling up or the motorized brush getting stuck. We can also see what mode the machine is being used in. What's extra about it is that there are pulsating lights on both sides, which indicate with their color. Again, they show what level you are using the machine at. 3 levels are available, the usual Eco, Standard, and Turbo. What's interesting about it is that the manufacturer claims you can use it in eco mode for almost an hour and in turbo mode for almost a quarter of an hour, which means the machine has a sizable battery. What's a bit strange about it is this dust container. According to the factory description, it is equipped with a 4-layer filter system, not 5 or 6, which is somewhat understandable in any case. This is still quite a strange thing. Moreover, the entire structure itself is designed quite oddly. The metal filter system and the HEPA filter inside it have an unusual appearance. And there is a reason for this as well. And now I don't want to keep you in suspense any longer. I'll tell you why this machine is different from a typical average Chinese machine. And that is none other than this device right here next to me. It's a bit heavy. Please bear with me. This is a docking station. This docking station is used to place the vacuum cleaner into it when we're not using it. And when we place the vacuum cleaner in it, it naturally charges the vacuum cleaner. It's battery, but that's not what's important about it. What's important is that it sucks the dirt out of the dust container. With these machines, perhaps what I like the least is that their container fills up relatively quickly, even when it's a relatively large container. They have containers, and cleaning these containers, well, it's not a great thing to do in an apartment. Because even though there's a button for cleaning on these vacuum cleaners, it doesn't usually work perfectly. The larger debris falls out, but the dust remains inside, and removing this dust is quite a hassle. So it's really, really good that we have a docking station where we can place the vacuum cleaner, and after every vacuuming session, the dirt in the container is transferred into a paper dust bag. The paper dust bag is actually 2.5 liters, so it can hold quite a lot of waste. And now comes the interesting thing that many people haven't noticed. So there are quite a few articles and tests about this vacuum cleaner on the internet, and the manufacturer also refers to this docking station as something that sucks out the dirt from the vacuum cleaner, and generally this is how it usually works with these docking machines. There is a motor in the vacuum cleaner, and there is one in the docking station. When we place the vacuum cleaner on the docking station, the motor in the docking station starts up and sucks out the dirt. For some reason, the testers did not notice that there is no motor in this docking station, which is a huge difference compared to the competition and similar machines, and obviously it represents a significant cost reduction since the electronics, the motor and everything else could be omitted while still providing us with automatic dustbin emptying. Yes, but then how does this whole thing work? Well, I think you might have guessed it, or many of you have figured it out. Yes, what happens is that when you place the machine in, the rotation direction reverses and it simply blows it out. With its own motor, it blows the dirt from the container into the dust bag. Well, this is why there is this strange design at the container. This is why there is a strange design at the HEPA filter, and it's quite peculiar. The design, by the way, behind the container is inside the vacuum cleaner's housing as well. Because here, the air passages had to be designed in such a way that the outgoing air encounters as few obstacles as possible. So, the air doesn't just pass through the HEPA filter, but also through passages alongside it, where it cannot flow inward. This way, they achieved that by setting the vacuum cleaner's motor to maximum speed. It can blow out the dirt in the dust container. But what's interesting is that not only in the dust container, but some air also passes through the HEPA filter. So we clean the HEPA filter itself every time we dock the vacuum cleaner. The question is, how effective is this method? Of course, I tried it, but I didn't just try this. I also looked into what capabilities the vacuum cleaner has on its own. And well, I experienced quite good things. According to the specifications, the suction power is not the greatest, so there are mid-range machines that, on paper, have greater suction power than this. What is very good is that this 33,000 Pascal 215 AV suction power exceeds the performance of most high-end Western machines. As usual, I tested it with flour, rice, and soup pearls, just like with every vacuum cleaner. The flour represents very fine dust, the rice symbolizes medium-sized dirt particles, and the soup pearls represent larger debris. And well, I suppose it goes without saying that the machine performed the tasks flawlessly. It vacuumed up everything completely, without leaving any residue. Regarding the soup pearls, it delivered the best performance in recent times, mainly because the head is relatively high, accommodating the soup pearls. The larger balls could also relatively easily reach the brush, and the machine was able to vacuum them up. Obviously, everything ended up in the container, so there is absolutely no problem with the suction power. The question is, how does the blowing out, or in other words, the dust container emptying work? Well, I had some doubts about this solution that we reverse the rotation direction and blow out the dust. This won't be too effective. Well, I am like that. 85%, because some flour remained in the container even after docking. I must definitely add, and it is part of the truth, that flour differs from the average household dust because it can stick much more to everything and is much harder to clean out. Along with this, the larger dirt was completely expelled and ended up in the dust bag, but as for the smaller ones, I think at least 80–90% of the flour was emptied, with only a very small residue remaining. A small amount of dust remained inside, which presumably would have gradually been emptied during subsequent vacuuming sessions. So overall, it can be said that this is indeed an interesting machine, and it is truly a high-end Chinese machine. In terms of capabilities, it has already caught up with Western high-end machines. In terms of knowledge, it has caught up with Western high-end machines. But here and there, we can still notice a bit of cost saving, not to mention, for example, regarding the docking station. Along with this, in my opinion, this solution is a very good one, as a bit of ingenuity replaced the costs. A bit of ingenuity replaced the extra motor and electronics that would have had to be built into the docking station, because the vacuum cleaner itself can handle both the suction and the emptying. And this is a very good idea. So, in summary, what can I say? Well, that the Jigoo 700 is indeed a very good vacuum cleaner in its category, with very good technical features and very clever solutions. Unfortunately, its price is still higher than that of a mid-range machine as compared to an average strong mid-range machine costing around 60,000 forints. It is sold for 115,000 forints, so obviously the 115,000 forints includes an extra docking station and the accessories, and those high-quality components that you see here on the table are included. So, in some way, this price difference is understandable, and for 115,000 forints, it is definitely important to have the automatic dustbin emptying feature, and which I think is quite significant. In the video description on YouTube, you will naturally find the link where you can purchase it, along with the coupon code to buy it at a discount. As I mentioned, there will also be a link to the written review, which you should read. If you like this video, then subscribe to the channel and choose from the other 2 videos appearing next to me. More tests, I think you'll be interested in those as well. Be good, take care of yourselves, and goodbye.